I woke up and the first thing I did was, well, I have my routine. Snuggle, Big Ben, get coffee, get green juice. And then I had a big cry. I was doing a little bit of research, and there was this woman who loves to snuggle sharks. And I was listening to her talk, and she said when she was a little girl, she wanted to be a scuba ranger. And she wanted to scuba dive all over the ocean and the reefs and protect the ocean creatures. And she said that this is what made me cry. She said she was going to be friends with the sharks. And I just broke down crying because the pain of enemy imaging animals for so long had to be released so that we could be friends. Good morning, Scuba-Doo. Olivia of North Ferry Hats is here. Hello, Olivia. Hello, my queen. Jill is here. Deborah is here. Angela is here. Hello, my doobadoodles. I love you too, Olivia. I want to know, what pain do you guys want to release? Olivia loves sharks too. I've been gathering videos to show you. I've been doing a lot of important research about snuggling, and there's animals all over that have been enemy imaged, and it turns out they love to snuggle. They need to snuggle. We've been enemy imaging sharks and spiders and bugs, and all they want to do is snuggle. Except for mosquitoes. Mosquitoes do not want to snuggle. But we must not kill mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are delicious. Bats and birds love to eat mosquitoes. And I want us to get to the point where we can snuggle sharks and spiders, and when we see a mosquito or a fly, that they can fly next to us. And just because it's a mosquito or a fly or a cockroach or something that we think only comes when there's dirtiness, water's like when there's stagnant water, flies like it when there's something decaying or dirty. What if we don't enemy image them and we just let them hang out and we're like, what's up, mosquito? I saw a mosquito the other day. I was like, what's up, mosquito? And I didn't want to kill the mosquito. That's out of me now. Killing is not in me. And I had to cry this morning because when I heard the lady say that she was going to have friends as sharks, and she grew up and now she has friends as sharks, and she scuba dives the reefs and protects the sharks. She has a system where all of the sharks talk to each other, and they let each other know that lady's cool. If you guys got a hook in your mouth, because sometimes sharks get hooks, we'll take it out. Just go to see the human. What if that's our role? It's gonna take time to build trust. Elephants used to not trust us, and all over Africa, they're starting to trust us again. Mystic says, why don't you take care of your kids? What if your role is to take care of your kids? So Mystic doesn't know about parental alienation. And user 3737 says, why are you awake, goddess? I get up around 3 a.m. I went to bed at about 5 o'clock last night. Good morning, Dying Breed. How are you guys feeling? And parental alienation. Yeah. You guys want to connect? I'm looking in the chat right now. Okay, I'll respond to the person who's talking about my kids. I wake up. Hi, Michelle. I wake up thinking about my kids every morning. I go to bed thinking about my kids every night. My daughter turns 9 years old on Saturday, and I'm hurting because I really want to see my kids. The courts are used like a weapon to alienate me. And Olivia says, I wish I didn't have to go to work, but I'm here listening while I get ready. Okay, I want to talk to you about a new world. Imagine a world where there's not enough merit to meet all of our needs. So when you have merit-based systems, everyone's needs will not get met. That's what we have now. If you go into a store and you don't have money, you don't get your needs, okay? If you're not popular, or if you don't have a family that you can inherit from, or if you don't earn, then you cannot meet your needs because you cannot pay. And with merit, there's never enough to go around. When we have universal needs-based systems, then there is an abundance. Oh, look at this. I love when I have this mustache thing. Could you guys please dress me up as queen? Instead of a cowboy hat, I would like to be a queen. I would like to be a goddess, princess, ninja turtle, superhero queen, please. Thank you very much. You think I'm kidding? I'm dead serious. The world of need-based systems, the fact that we have a universal need, we go and meet the need. It's 3 a.m. Oh, look, I have a flower hat. I love this. You could dress me up however you want. Here, look at this hat. How's that? This is called a washcloth hat. If we have merit-based systems, then basically it says either you're ordained by God, you inherited it, you earned it, you found it, you get to have it, there's like some reason why you have your needs. What happens with merit-based systems is we separate the resources in a way that creates scarcity and chaos. And then some very clever duba-scoobs end up with all of the treasures and trinkets. And very small percentage have all of the treasures, and the rest of the people have barely enough to get by and not enough to meet their needs. And then most of the world has not enough to meet their needs. So what do we have to do if we don't have enough to meet our needs? We have to mobilize. And in a world of separation, we're programmed from an early age to be separated. And when you are all with the same age as you, that is a form of separation. If you are in a place where everyone has the same skill set as you, then that is a form of separation. What we want is we want to have a big diversity. I'll give you an example. If there is a place of learning and teaching, there must also be giving and receiving. For example, if you are teaching someone to be a dentist, you cannot have them go to a school and learn how to be a dentist. Instead of having schools where people go and learn and then you have to pay to go learn and then you get paid to teach, we don't want that, because then you separate the giving and receiving, where you learn and teach over here and then you give and receive over here. So then you pay to receive and then you get paid to give. Instead, we want to take the giving and receiving and the learning and teaching, and we want to combine them and put them together. Merit-based system wants to separate learning and teaching and giving and receiving because it promotes the scarcity model. When you put giving and receiving and learning and teaching together, then it promotes an abundance model where all of a sudden you have a flow of energies where intrinsic motivations go towards meeting needs, and there's learning and teaching and giving and receiving intrinsically being given without even thinking. And the people who are giving are also learning and teaching. The people who are receiving are learning and teaching. And we are in a high-tech heaven on earth. We are supposed to feel ecstasy, pleasure, bliss, tranquility, and a form of joy known as spiritual joy. Not the kind of joy that's fleeting and comes and goes, but we want it to be the kind of joy that stays, because it is like a burning fire, and it's not like a fire inside of us. We've totally been engulfed in this flame, and we are so engulfed in the flame of spiritual joy that I want you to picture yourself like a phoenix, and out of the ashes of being programmed with domination programming, which is evaluating, thinking, strategizing, demanding, threatening, punishing, rewarding, and this gets imprinted into our brain. So then the way that we talk to ourselves, we evaluate ourselves in terms of good or bad, right and wrong, and we use shame and blame and judgment, and then we do the same thing with others, and then we coerce ourselves in order to change or give or be a certain way, and we do the same thing with others. Instead, we want to influence through motivation, inspiration, not manipulation, coercion, and control, but through bewildered, connected, relational play. Play is the most mystical, magical world in the universe. It's a word that says play. And if you say, do you want to play? Then that means, do you want to go into a super learning state, duper scoop, and have a lot of fun doing it? Yeah, of course I do. Do you want to play? Means, do you want to create something beautiful and wonderful that will benefit all of life? Play means that we are not in our brainstem and not in our amygdala. The amygdalas are so cute. They're these two little almond-shaped little baby brains. They're so cute. They're like when we were a little baby and we're so scared or so angry. So you have to be like, it's okay, little baby brain. I love you so much, little amygdala. It's gonna be okay. And then our prefrontal cortex, we gotta be like, prefrontal cortex, you are so smart and wise and gorgeous. Could you please envision a future that does not yet exist, that will make life even more wonderful, and give me the manifestations of a high-tech heaven on earth, and let us create through play. Your amygdala will, and you could just call it your sympathetic nervous system. So when we're in fight flight, then we become non-relational because we're not able to trust. And if you can have a tribe, when you get into this sympathetic state and you're in fight flight, if you have a tribe, you will be connected to your group conscious mind. And because you'll be operating from a network of intelligence that includes many biofields and nervous systems that you can co-regulate with, and that you can alchemize your emotional biofield. The energies in motion moving around you, those are emotions. Even if we're not with our tribe, if we know that we are connected to a tribe, our difficult emotions will feel much easier and our happy emotions will be much more amazing. Even if our tribe is not with us, we will feel their presence, and there's an interconnectedness. I'm telling you, we're all telepathic. Every single one of us. We already know everything. You know, you do know. I know you know. We know everything. We're telepathic and we're psychic. And I know that you know it's true because there's times when you experience it, when you'll be next to someone who you know, and it'll be a deep connection because they will say something and you were just thinking it. Someone will call you who you were just thinking about, or you will call someone and they will tell you that they were just dialing your number. And that is just a taste of the interconnectedness and the psychic field that we are telepathically connected to with each other. And hopefully this little taste that you've had will allow you to tap into that and expand it. This love juice will help. drink. This is how I look when I wake up. My eyebrows and eyeliner and lipstick is permanently tattooed on my face, so I could always look bodaciously beautiful. It's a form of self-worship. I love worshiping myself. Every time I love myself, I can't believe how lovable I am. And I become so loving and sweet. And then when I witness the world, I love them so much. Life is so wonderful when you love everyone. When you love everyone, someone could do something and usually it would make you upset or you would think bad. And it's so cool. Like, as soon as my brain starts thinking, you could do this too. As soon as my brain starts being like, look at this person. Their skin is so, or their hair, or they're this, and all, my brain will start talking about them in not a nice way. And I will immediately, because we have all different parts of our brain, so those are the voices. It's like the part of you that wants to protect you, the part of you that wants to advocate for you, the part of you that wants you to have abundance, the part of you that wants to have harmony. There's all these different parts of us. And most of them are just trying to help us have a really good experience and attract those who are going to elevate and empower us. If we can love everyone unconditionally and not see a liability and be afraid and see people's gifts, we will be able to relate to others, we'll be able to co-regulate, and we'll be able to attune properly to bodies' biofields so that we can collaborate to meet needs. And if we love each other, we'll really be able to be in touch with someone. The person who we're loving, their body will change. They will immediately trust us more than they did before because we relax when we can tell someone loves us and cares about us. If you look at someone, I want you to think in your head, I love you, divine being, and I am awestruck and delighted as I witness you. And it's important to me to co-worship with you. And when we connect with others and speak to them through our energetic field and in our mind's ear, perhaps we're the only one that can hear these words, it will have a profound effect as if we sent these words out loud. And I believe that it is more impactful when we don't say the words out loud. Keep them guessing. Let it be a surprise. You don't have to let people know what you're thinking. Let it be so wonderful. Let it be the most beautiful, wonderful surprise in the world. As you gaze deeply into the blue, and oh, how about this? Let's say they're really annoying and stinky, and they give you unsolicited advice. That would really exercise your heart muscle. It would be really hard to love someone like that, huh? Or how about someone says something triggering to you? That'd be really difficult to love somebody like that, huh? Well, you could do it. You could take your heart and put your hand over your heart and be like, I can do it. A heart. My heart's so powerful. You could do it. You could make your heart so powerful. I promise. Your heart's so powerful that drink. That it creates a love juice for everyone. Like if someone's upset, if you really love yourself, you'll be able to listen to them and not get triggered. Can you believe it? My little doobly blue, someone could say something about you that usually upsets you. And you could say to them, some of that's probably true. Maybe all of it. Thank you for letting me know. And this helps me because when you inform me about the impact on you, then I can use that information to do better instead of defending and deflecting because they said something about you and now you have to explain. As a lovable dooba scoob, you do not have to explain or defend. You could just say, I do not want to explain and defend. Now I want to connect at the chat. We have Pool here. Hello, Pool. Hello, Kat. Hello, Nessa. Welcome. Kat just got here. Skirt. Hello, Super Doodles. And how are you guys doing? Is anyone struggling? I want to know. So Emuna says she is not unwell. She had a spiritual awakening. It's the world that's crazy. Yes. Spiritual, it's so crazy. Like when you have a spiritual awakening, people think you're crazy. And also they think you're high. Like I did drugs and alcohol my whole adult life. Like I started drinking when I was 14 years old. I'll be sober for 7 years this August. And for some reason, when you become spiritually awake, everyone's like, what are they on? Like, because you just have all this energy and life force, and people are like, whoa, like they feel your auric field and they're like, whoa, holy cow. Our biofields expand when we become spiritually awake. Erica says, my friend's circle is down to nothing. When you awaken, not all can follow. The path is narrow. Yeah. So stages of awakening. There's 4. First, you are unconsciously unconscious. And that means you're completely asleep. So unconsciously unconscious means you're unconscious and you're unconscious about it, which means you don't know that you are asleep. Then there's consciously unconscious. That's the second stage of awakening. When you are consciously unconscious, it's sort of like when I first made the decision to go into the 12 steps. And August 2nd, 2018 is sort of like when I became consciously unconscious. And that was when I made the decision, I'm going to begin this journey. Once you start to spiritually awaken, everything starts to fall away, just like Goddess Erica said, and you start to lose everything. And B says, do you have a job? When you become spiritually awake, you will no longer sell out to a market economy. You will find other ways. Currently, I have no bills, except for a $56 a month rent payment. The government pays all of my bills. And I'm trying to create with my soul tribe, and that means all of you, needs-based fellowships to replace merit-based systems which have enslaved the planet. In order to serve all of life and become light beings, we must ascend and awaken. And when we do, the third step, so you're consciously unconscious, and that's when everything falls away, and now you know that you were asleep, but you don't know what it is to be awake. You're just conscious that you're unconscious. So the next stage is finally you start to get some reprieve, but you're all alone when you are consciously conscious. So the fourth stage is integration. When you're consciously conscious, that means that you're on your way to becoming spiritually awake. You're finding new ways to meet your needs. You're exiting market economy. You're exiting government. You're exiting unhealthy relationships. You're exiting unhealthy food. You're exiting unhealthy sleep. You're becoming in balance with your universal needs. You're not putting your schedule or tasks or productivity before universal needs, relationships, personal development, and creativity. Personal development, creativity, and relationships now come first. And then from consciously conscious, that means you can be conscious and awake when you're conscious, But then when you get really triggered, then it's really hard to stay that way. Integration stage is the final stage of awakening. When we are in integration, and I consider myself to be in integration, it means, do I still do things that are unconscious? Yes. In the integration stage, we are watching ourselves. Now we have what's called extinction bursts. And this means that our target behaviors will come up and we'll watch ourselves and we'll be like, whoa, I didn't know that was still in there. Let me take care of that. And then when it comes up, so some of my target behaviors I stopped doing. Obviously, I got sober. So 12 steps. One of my target behaviors was screaming in people's face. Another target, which I stopped. Another target behavior was verbally attacking others. And I would put people down. So I don't do that anymore. That was a target behavior. Hitting, I don't do. So we take target behaviors, and then in the integration period, you'll have an extinction burst. So when it comes out in the integration period, you don't deny it. You don't shame it. You don't resist it. You embrace it and you love it up. In the integration phase, you don't resist anything. Everything that comes in, you accept it and you love it and you're tender and gentle and curious. And as you look at each behavior, you're able to identify, of course I'm doing this. Of course I yelled. Of course I hit. Of course I did whatever I did. And you give yourself empathy. And then you can look back, well, where was it done to me? And how did I feel when it was done to me? And what other ways have I done this? And what do I want to do instead? And that's called hindsight, where we look back at what we did. Foresight, where we look at what we want to do. And then we create inspiration in the moment. So in the integration period, these behaviors are still coming out because we've never fully arrived in this 3D, moving to 5D. The third dimension, you probably hear people talk about, that's when you're unconscious. So the reason why they say the third dimension to the fifth dimension is the fourth dimension, you're waking up. So in the second and third stages of spiritual awakening, you are in the fourth dimension. And then when you get to integration, you are in the fifth dimension. All the fifth dimension means is that you believe all of life is God and divine, and you believe that we are all the same energy, which means we are one entangled spirit watching itself. And once you believe and accept that everything is God, everything is divine, and you co-worship, treat everything as divine. That means you look at a spider, you say, I love you, you're God, you're divine. Anything that you enemy imaged, anything that your heart muscle still has to exercise, it's God, and it's also you. So if that is just the same spirit in another body, and you can say to yourself, that's another me, because we are entangled energy, to have that degree of empathy and compassion, and to be truly awestruck of another spirit, that is divinity. And if we be awestruck of all of life and witness all of life as a divine expression of ourself, and all of life is just another way for us to know ourselves, that's the fifth dimension. Integration period is just the fifth dimension. And I believe that the animals are already in the fifth dimension. I believe that they already, I communicate with animals. If I'm going to show you guys some videos. I'm not going to show it on this video, but there's such wisdom in animals when I watch them snuggle and interact, and the way that they push their faces into each other and push their heads into each other and smell each other. There is such wisdom. And it is so beautiful. Instead of meeting our needs the way that we've been meeting our needs, there is a whole other expression that is waiting to surface and come out of humanity. And I cannot wait. It is a collective, conscious decision that we make together. It's not going to be one of us that makes the decision. It's going to be a collective, and only 3% has to influence the rest of the population. It just takes 3% of us. 144,000 to change 8 billion minds, and then the whole planet. And instead of merit-based systems, we will have universal need-based systems, and it'll be for all of life. Like, if we see that there is a baby that got adopted, like there's this lioness that adopted a wildebeest, and instead of feeding the wildebeest and feeding the lion, because when the lion adopted the wildebeest baby, she stopped hunting, and then the baby obviously couldn't nurse because this lion was not able to nurse the baby. So the wildebeest ended up dying, and the lioness didn't eat for several weeks. And then when the baby wildebeest died, then the lioness hunted. The whole time these humans are watching. Well, why didn't they feed the baby? Why didn't they feed the lion? Why are they watching the baby wildebeest starve when they could just give the baby some milk? And they could just give the lion some food? And it blows my mind that with the amount of destruction and the amount of basically interference with nature, that then we say, don't interfere with nature. That blows my mind. So we're only allowed to interfere and mess with nature and make it harder, but we can't interfere and make it better. I don't believe that nature is supposed to be that hard. I believe that nature and life is meant to be more effortless, and that it's not meant to be in competition, but collaboration and cooperation. Yeah, I'm ready to look at the chat again. Hello, Mr. Jenkins is here. Gonna boop you guys on the nose. Boop, boop. And Marcus, Florida man, says, my ministry is real. I am God. Yes, you are God. Boop. That's right. And if we can say, boop, Mr. Jenkins, I love you too. If you guys could say, I am God. I am God. Oh yeah, I know, isn't it cute? Yeah, Dr. Fiji says your eyeliner looks cute. So this is how I wake up with it, and I just got it touched up. It's permanent makeup. Well, are you guys still going to be here if I come back? My stupid scoops. Hello, Tony. Hello, you guys. Thanks, Goddess, Dr. Fiji. Marcus says, that's one of the most embarrassing things for me because I just want to live as human. Well, that's the thing is we're God, and even like a cute little kitten is God. And if we could accept and acknowledge with joy, because it's actually pretty cool, that this little kitten and everyone else is God, all of a sudden I'm going to be looking at that kitten much differently than if it's just a kitten. But if I know that that is a divine being, that is a God, I'm going to treat that kitten much different. And that's called co-worshiping. Could you imagine if we didn't have governors or leaders that had to be in charge and be in power and be in control? Could you imagine if we gave all of our power away and allowed the vulnerable to lead us? And when the vulnerable lead, see, it's an illusion because the powerful stay low. And what that means is by the powerful staying low and the vulnerable leading, the powerful it may seem they're giving their power away, but in actuality, they're actually becoming more powerful. The powerful, when they try to lead the vulnerable, they lose their power. They have less power, less influence, and it may look like they have more power because they're using power over, But anything done by force and control, which is the only way that the most powerful can lead, that's going to hurt all of us. That way of being, we have already done enough research on the whole planet to know that we're done with that. It doesn't work. The actual way that we are meant to live, the vulnerable lead us. That means that babies, children, animals, they lead us. So if we are attuning to the needs of the vulnerable so that they can lead us, that means that we're checking on the microorganisms to see how the air molecules are doing, and the molecules in the ground, and the microscopic organisms that live there also, and what's happening with the water and those molecules. That's the vulnerable leading us. The plants and the animals, those are the vulnerable. We have great power. With great power comes great responsibility, so we must give our power away so the vulnerable can lead us. And for too long, special interests and the powerful have been leading us. And again, this creates separation, scarcity, chaos, and suffering. We don't want that anymore. We want high-tech heaven on earth with ecstasy, spiritual bliss, tranquility, and play. So, Mystic says, Daisy, you're not a scientist. You're not a doctor. Wake up, girl. Exactly. I'm not a scientist. And I'm not a doctor. Ashley says, we need to go to sleep, Daisy. I get up at 3 in the morning. I went to bed early last night. I went to bed at 5 o'clock. It's because I woke up earlier yesterday. But this is what time I get up. I get up at between 2 and 4 in the morning. And I go to bed at around 6 or 7. Last night I went to bed at like 5. So I like to, all of you guys are probably up till 10 or 12. I've already been sleeping 5 hours by then. So I like to get up early. Yes, and I'm not a doctor or a scientist. The stuff that I'm saying right now, I call it a language of the heart. And I don't claim to be an authority of science or a doctor or anything like that. And I don't even claim to be an authority on love. I just like to share my experience, strength, and hope. And it is my hope that we speak a language of the heart. Because I believe that if we speak our body sensations, our emotions, and our universal needs, those 3 things, that therein lies the solution. That is a relational discussion. Body sensations, feelings, and needs are non-controversial. It is the space where everyone can join each other. You're not going to hear blame or judgment or criticism in feelings and needs. And I do not believe that is science or medical. And in the age of information, I don't believe in labels. I believe in masters, and that we study and we create, and then we give our gifts and we share our talents and treasures, and we don't charge, and we don't have to label ourselves, I'm a doctor or I'm a scientist. We're sharing our gifts, and we are a master in this practice because we study it. That we're not a doctor or a dentist. No, I'm a master in dentistry. I'm a master in the foot, instead of I'm a foot doctor. Yeah. So I'm going to love and release you guys, and I'll come back in a little bit, and I want to connect with someone. So when I come back, I want you guys to tell me about your struggles, and we will talk about a language of the heart. I love you and release you. Think about how lovable you are.